Hey guys, how you going? Let's give it a minute and see if anyone comes on. Try that. Stop playing with it. Well, I can't see if anyone's coming on or not. Hey Story, how are you? Hey Carol, I can see. Hey Tina, how are you girls? No worries. Carol, okay, no worries. It's nice to have you all here. I'll just give it another minute and then we'll get started. I hope you're all well. It's your Saturday night tonight over there, or Saturday afternoon, evening. All right, well, we might just make a start. Hey, Erica. All right. Here everywhere. We'll just make a start so people can catch the replay if they need to. So we're gonna, this is part of the Spirit Animal series, and we're gonna talk about platypus tonight. And I've got my little platypus here. It's not a real one, obviously, but that's kind of what they look like. Their beaver type tail and their duck bill. I'm just going to go through some, I'll put him up there. Some interesting facts first, and then I'll get on to the spirit animal side of the platypus. So, and if you've got any questions or anything, just, my hair doing, put them in the chat and I'll get to them. So they, the platypus is, they're monotremes. They're one of the few mammals that lay eggs, not live young. They feed their young milk, which is sweated out from their abdomen. So they don't actually have nipples like most mammals. Their bills contain electroceptors that detect the weak electrical fields of their prey. Or that is produced by their prey, like the shrimp and worms that they hunt for in murky waters. They don't have stomachs, so the food goes directly from their gullet into their intestines. They also don't have any teeth. They have grinding plates in their bill. And you can't see inside that, obviously, but they have a grinding plate which helps to break down their food that they eat. Their front feet have a webbing that extends beyond their their claws. Yeah, their claws. That's what they call them, claws. So that if that's their claw, the webbing on their front feet come out further than their claws. But their back feet, that helps them for with powerful swimming, and their back claws, they only have a partial webbing. So the webbing, their back claws come past the back webbing. The webbing sort of comes in between, and the back claws act like a rudder to steer them while they're swimming. Male platypuses have a venomous spur on each hind foot, and they're for defensive purposes, obviously. But they can cause intense pain, and they can actually, the effects of those, the poison that they put into you, can last for months and months. So stay away from their back claws, is what I'm saying. Are there any questions or anything on that so far? I don't know if you've ever seen Robin Williams. He did a thing about God when he created the platypus. Was obviously stoned, because it's a pretty mixed mash of animals, like the duck's bill, the beaver's tail, no teeth, no stomach. It's weird. And it doesn't have the nipples to, but yet it still produces milk to feed its young. Interesting animal. And it was actually, when it was first discovered, it was thought to be a hoax by scientists. They didn't believe it was a real animal, which is also interesting. I'm not seeing any more comments, so I'm hoping they'll still show. Ah, yes, thank you. Sunday morning, 1 AM, holy shit. Carol, that's crazy. It's 9:40 here on Sunday morning. Wow. That's right, Story. They're crazy animals. If you can find that Robin Williams thing, have a look at it. It's bloody hilarious. All right, so the platypus, symbolism and meaning of the platypus. It symbolises embracing unique paradoxes, celebrating one's authentic self, fostering a safe environment for self-expression, and connecting to nature. It asks you to dare to be yourself. It represents finding wisdom in times of uncertainty, the cyclic nature of life and death, and the importance of quiet observation to understand deeper mysteries. They're very shy creatures, platypus, and they're also nocturnal as well. Culturally, the platypus is highly significant to Aboriginal Australians, and it appears in quite a lot of creation stories, and it holds very sacred value to them as well. Some mobs in the Aboriginal society would eat the platypus, but others, it was very sacred to them, so they wouldn't eat it. So let's look at some of those symbolisms. So embracing paradox. As a creature that defies easy classification, which it does, the platypus represents the acceptance of paradoxes within ourselves and within the world. The authentic self and uniqueness, it embodies the paradoxical and unique qualities of the self. It reminds us to celebrate our own contradictions and individuality as well. It has a deep connection to nature, with a really deep connection to water and mud, and it signifies a spiritual cleaning and a need to connect with nature to avoid feeling drained or scattered. Some of the wisdom in its mystery. The platypus teaches us to find wisdom in the murky depths, relying on other senses and talents when we lack clarity and are facing life's fundamental mysteries like birth and death. I spelled birth wrong. Self-expression and acceptance. The spirit of the platypus encourages creating safe spaces where others can be their authentic selves as well as ourselves, being our authentic self, without that fear of ridicule. And it leads to innovation and stronger relationships when that space is created. I'll put all these notes up into Google Classroom so you can access them. And this thing keeps falling. I apologise. Okay, let's try that. Yeah, so you can access all the notes, my notes on this one. And it won't be a long live because it's just an information live. So some of this, so a spiritual journey. As a spiritual journey, the platypus can be a guide through challenging cycles of life, offering protection and wisdom on that spiritual path that we take. And as I said, it's very important in Aboriginal culture. The platypus is a significant totem featured in creation stories and very sacred. Yeah, so for some it was a vital source of food, and for others it was considered too sacred to eat. And so, so I talked about it being a very shy animal. They are shy creatures that require quiet observation to be seen, emphasising the need for stillness and respect to connect with nature and its deeper messages. Platypus comes into our life to teach us ancient lessons that are rooted in our subconsciousness. I've gone too far. Hold on. And they're fun. And sorry, the ancient lessons are also fundamental to our psyche as well. They tend to be concerned with mysteries that we don't often think about, and may force us through a spiritual murk. In order to realise that sometimes we find the greatest wisdoms in the times where we feel like we have the least clarity, and we need to rely on our other senses and talents through those as well. I've just found a heap of spelling mistakes. Yeah. It's also an animal of great privacy. I keep missing that. God. And as well as secrecy. There are still things about this creature that we don't understand today, despite all the extensive studies that have been done. So we're still learning lots about it. If we're a socialite kind of person, then the platypus comes to remind us that we not only need time to recharge, but to learn lessons that we can focus on away from influences of other people. So you need time to be able to learn those lessons, to focus on what that lesson is. Hey Hayley, how you going? Solitude is important, and it's crucial that we learn how to be at peace with isolation within ourselves. Because some people, some of us don't like to be alone. And platypus can help us overcome that. Often our experiences wash over us and we don't pay attention to the details of how they've affected us, and in how in turn we conduct ourselves through our lives as well. Platypus draws our attention to the grit of experience, and it doesn't let us look away from those details that might be really unpleasant to us as well. It helps us deal with everything. It's in that process of looking into the details that hurt or feel uncomfortable that we find the most nourishing truths about ourselves. So we need to take time to go through that process of looking in. Sorry. And when we pretend to be something that we aren't, we also lose sight of our hearts and our purpose as well. So Platypus reminds us that that part of being ourself is the conscious self-discovery of going inward. And in this way, like the otter, we take time to nurture the things that make us happy. Because that's really important to us. Platypus is really good when it comes to teaching us water wisdom and helping us swim through our emotions. They're tough lessons, but they're life-changing lessons and indispensable to our spiritual journeys as well. Platypus has a curious energy. It leaves no stone unturned on its quest to find nourishment. It's the animal of investigation and curiosity. And when Platypus appears to us, it's a time to follow every thread of our experience that seem relevant or irrelevant in our lives. And it will take time, patience and strength, but Platypus is more than willing to give it to you if you abandon yourself to the childhood curiosities that exposed wonders to us many years ago, and can keep on doing so as well. So it's about keeping that inner child alive. Does that make sense? Has anyone got any questions or anything? I'm not seeing anything. Yes, I think it was story. It was funny. Yes, Erica, yes. It's very much so about all that looking inward. So shadow work is Storiol, I'm glad you're back. It can really help. Platypus can really help when we're delving into that shadow work within ourselves, and any lessons that come along too. Yes, Erica. Yeah, as a Virgo, very true. So people who are drawn to Platypus or who see Platypus symbolisms in their lives are often quite good with computers and other electrical equipment. The ability of the Platypus are often... The ability of the Platypus to use its echolocation, as I was saying earlier on, that translates across to these people who are drawn to the Platypus. Because they're often being asked to pursue their connection and to the impulse and electricity, to impulse and electricity. And it might be time, so if Platypus is coming into your life, if you're seeing lots of symbols, then it might be time to do things like learn any computer programs that you might have been thinking about, that you've been putting off, to enroll in a course that you might be thinking about, or even as far as hiring an electrician to fix your faulty wiring that you've noticed. So there's lots of different aspects why Platypus will come into your life for different reasons. So if you have Platypus as your guide, people with the Platypus as a guide are often people of solitude who never really fit into the mainstream society. One of their major lessons in life is to realise and accept that this is normal and natural and not representative of any lacks within themselves or within the world as well. That's just part of who they are. They must learn that some socialising is necessary. And these people tend to fall into the cat-like industries where they spend a lot of time alone and with sensitive electrical equipment as well. Platypus people are often adept at examining their experiences and emotional problems in retrospect and learning new and nourishing lessons from them. It's a valuable lesson that is intrinsically shared with others without them even thinking about it. So if you know someone who does that, who share, intrinsically shares valuable knowledge all the time, or information, or different ways to do things, then they've probably got platypus along with them. So I haven't got too much more. I just want to go into a little bit about it as a shadow guide. And then I think that's about all I have. So are there any questions or anything so far? No? Okay, well, platypus is a shadow guide, and I'll just give you a quick explanation of what that is. A shadow guide is the animal that we often fear irrationally, that teaches us things about ourselves that are profound and difficult to confront. Often the traits we fear the most within that shadow guide are the traits we dislike in ourselves. And we need to really look at why this is and learn how to work with them. And I thought that's really interesting, and I think if I was to really think about it, it would definitely be snake for me. So I'm going to look into that. I have a huge fear of snakes. All right, so people who dislike or fear the platypus are often socialites who are very concerned about fitting in and looking or appearing normal. They tend to criticise the idea of being controversial, of looking different or being marginalised to a less popular section of society. These people are often confronted with the harsh questions of what normal, I'm not going to be able to say this because it's not me, I'm not normal, of what normalcy is and what it means to be different or the same. So these lessons can be incredibly difficult and bring up problems relating to self-esteem or peer groups as well. But it has to be done eventually, doesn't it? I can't see any more questions or anything. So I've only got one more thing on how you can call upon the platypus if you want to connect to that energy. But like all other guides or helpers, spirit animals, the platypus will only appear when the time is right. It can't be forced to visit us or to commune or to share messages if the time isn't right. It comes through a merging of water and earth elements, sitting in. The platypus will come to you through a merging of water and earth elements. So doing things, if you want to connect with that platypus energy, you can do things like sit in shallow lakes or streams. Fresh water is better because that's where they live. They're a freshwater animal. You could also sit in the rain cross-legged, sit in the mud or on the earth, grass if you don't like the mud. Because they're both really good ways to get direct contact with a platypus. Platypus can be shy and they don't tend to talk like animals such as the raven or the coyote, but they definitely will get their point across to you if it's meant to commune with you and give you messages. And that is all I have on the platypus. Just to sum it up, platypus reminds us to always be ourselves and to trust that by being yourself, all things will be exactly as they need to be. I thought that was just a lovely way to finish it. So are there any questions or anything? Because I know that was really short, but there was a fair bit of information in there. So, like I said, I'll put the notes up in Google Classroom. I'm still not seeing any comments. So I'll get on and have a look after. They don't leave anything untouched. No, they're forever foraging, and they do a lot of it of a night, and so it is very murky, and that's where that echo location comes in handy for them, I guess. Well, not I guess, it does. I'm so vague today, I apologise. All right, girls, well, I hope that was, I hope you got something out of that. Even just learning a fact about a platypus. They're a very bizarre animal that suit Australia well, I think, because we're quite bizarre people over here. But, yeah, on that note, I'll put the notes up into Google Classroom, and I'll also put this on my YouTube channel so that it's accessible there too. Well, have a lovely evening or early morning for you, Carol. And I will see you next month. All right, girls, blessed be. Bye.